Think your property is safe, think again. I left my land for just 1 year, and when I came back, I couldn't believe my eyes. The HOA president had built a massive mansion on my land, right over everything I owned. Fences, trees, even my driveway, all gone. And the court? They didn't just hear my case, they forced the HOA to give everything back. You have to see this to believe it. Before we dive in, drop your city or state in the comments. I want to see how far this story travels. And if you believe in justice over power, hit that like button and subscribe, because this story proves truth always fights back. I had always loved my land, the fields, the old oak trees, even the small creek where I used to fish as a kid. It wasn't just property, it was memories, hard work, and my family's legacy. Life got busy, so I decided to leave the land for just 1 year, trusting that everything would stay the same. I thought the HOA was just some small local organization that enforced rules, harmless, nothing to worry about. Little did I know, during that single year, things would spiral completely out of control. The HOA president, who I barely knew, started making changes, supposedly improvements, that slowly spread onto my land. At first, I ignored it, thinking it was a mistake. But by the time I returned, what I saw made my heart stop: a massive mansion right on my property, built without my permission, completely erasing everything I had worked for. The moment I stepped onto my land, I couldn't believe my eyes. Where there had once been open fields and tall oak trees, now stood a colossal mansion, gleaming, brand new, and utterly out of place. It wasn't just big, it was massive, with multiple floors, a sprawling driveway, fountains, and even a private pool. Every corner of that property screamed someone else's control, but it was mine. I walked closer, trying to make sense of it. There were heavy gates, manicured lawns, and security cameras pointed right at the road. The HOA president's name was engraved on the mailbox. My stomach sank. How could this have happened without a single warning, notice, or permission? All my childhood memories, the land I had worked on year after year, trampled and replaced with someone else's ambition. I felt anger, disbelief, and an overwhelming sense of betrayal. This wasn't just a property dispute, it was someone stealing a lifetime of memories and hard work. And the worst part? The HOA claimed they had every right to build there. But I knew one thing for sure: I wasn't going to let them get away with it. I decided it was time to confront the HOA president face to face. As I approached the mansion, she came out, clipboard in hand, glaring at me like I was the intruder. "This property is ours now," she snapped, her voice sharp and full of entitlement. I could feel her fury, but I stayed calm. "No," I said firmly. "This is my land, and I have all the proof to show it." She laughed, a harsh, bitter sound, clearly thinking I was powerless. She pointed to the construction, the permits, the official HOA approval, as if any of it mattered. I tried to reason, to explain the years of work, the property deeds, everything I had done to secure my land. But she wasn't listening. She was used to people backing down, intimidated by her position. I refused to leave. My presence alone seemed to shake her confidence slightly. Neighbors began to gather, whispering, taking in the tension. For the first time, I saw doubt flicker in her eyes. It was a small crack in her armor, but a crack nonetheless. And deep down, I knew this confrontation was only the beginning of a battle that the law would ultimately decide. After the police sided with the HOA, I knew I had to take matters into my own hands. I started digging through old property records, surveys, and blueprints, determined to find anything that could prove the mansion sat on my land. Every document felt like a small victory, every signature or boundary line a glimmer of hope. I reached out to neighbors who had lived in the area for decades. Some were hesitant to get involved, fearing the HOA's wrath, but a few brave souls shared old photographs and personal accounts showing my land long before the HOA president moved in. I even hired a surveyor to confirm the exact property lines, documenting everything meticulously. Each piece of evidence was another brick in the foundation of my case. It was painstaking work, but I refused to be intimidated. The more I uncovered, the more certain I became I would reclaim my land, no matter how powerful the HOA thought they were. Frustrated but not defeated, I knew I needed a legal expert who could stand up to the HOA's power. After weeks of research and referrals, I finally found an attorney who specialized in property disputes and had a reputation for taking on big corporations and winning. From the moment we met, I could tell this wasn't going to be just another lawsuit. My attorney treated the case like a battlefield, meticulously analyzing every document, photograph, and survey we had collected. The HOA, sensing a real threat for the first time, ramped up their intimidation tactics. They sent letters threatening lawsuits, tried to discredit the evidence, and even made veiled threats to neighbors who had supported me. But my attorney stayed calm, outlining a precise legal strategy that leveraged not only the property records but also the testimonies of witnesses and expert surveys. For the first time, I felt the tide turning. What had seemed like an impossible fight against a powerful HOA suddenly felt winnable. With my attorney leading the charge, we were ready to bring this case to court and force the HOA to answer for building a mansion on land that wasn't theirs. With my attorney in full control, we shifted our focus to preparing for the courtroom battle. Every detail mattered, from gathering official property records and surveying reports to compiling photos of the mansion and mapping its exact footprint on my land. Witnesses who had seen the HOA's illegal construction were contacted, coached, and prepared to testify. My attorney even anticipated every counterargument the HOA might throw at us, building a step-by-step plan to dismantle their claims. Late nights were spent reviewing every contract, deed, and HOA regulation. Each piece of evidence was meticulously organized to create a clear narrative. The land was mine, the construction was illegal, and the HOA had knowingly overstepped. The pressure was intense, but with each document and testimony we prepared, my confidence grew. The courtroom was no longer a distant threat. It was a place where truth could finally be laid bare, and justice had a real chance to prevail. The day of the trial arrived, and the tension in the courtroom was palpable. The HOA president walked in, exuding arrogance, certain that her mansion would remain untouched. I took a deep breath, standing beside my attorney, knowing we had done everything to prepare for this moment. As the judge called the session to order, my attorney presented the evidence with precision, clear property maps, construction records, and timestamps proving the mansion had been built squarely on my land. Witness after witness stepped forward, each recounting what they had seen, the unauthorized construction, the falsified HOA notices, and the repeated warnings that went ignored. The HOA president tried to maintain her composure, but cracks started showing as my attorney meticulously dismantled her arguments. Every attempt to justify the illegal building was met with cold, undeniable proof. The courtroom murmured as the reality sank in. She had knowingly encroached on my property, and the law was on my side. After hours of arguments, cross-examinations, and tense deliberations, the judge leaned forward, eyes fixed on the HOA president. The verdict was decisive. The mansion, built illegally on my land, would be returned to me. The room seemed to hold its breath as the words echoed, justice had been served. Finally, what had been mine all along was coming back, and the power of truth had triumphed over arrogance. The courtroom was silent as the judge announced the final verdict. After weeks of tension, hearings, and mounting evidence, the decision was clear. The mansion built by the HOA president on my land would be fully returned to me. Relief, disbelief, and a rush of triumph washed over me all at once. Years of patience, meticulous preparation, and unwavering resolve had finally paid off. The HOA president sat frozen, her arrogance stripped away by the weight of justice. For the first time, she realized that no amount of power or influence could override the law. My attorney handed me the documents confirming the transfer, and a sense of vindication settled deep in my chest. Every late night spent gathering evidence, every tense phone call with witnesses, and every doubt I had overcome now felt worth it. As I stepped out of the courtroom, the world seemed different. The mansion, once a symbol of greed and corruption, was now a testament to persistence and truth. I had not only reclaimed my land but also sent a message: no one, not even a powerful HOA president, can trample over